Hi, Paul. Good to see you again.
Great to see you too, Paul. Thank you for joining.
No, it's my pleasure. I just wanted to share today some video of one of my early visits with Alan uh, when he took me around to some of the sites. So in this case, we're going to be uh, revisiting the story of King Tewdrig. So this is a visit where Alan took me to Tintern and Mathern and showed me the sites that are associated with the story of King Tewdrig, who, as most in the group know, but for those who may not, um, is Arthur II's grandfather. And his stained glass, which we'll see an image of in the video,
Great.
is in Llandaff Cathedral, right next to Arthur II's. So yes, so this was a trip that I took, and this would have been a little less than 20 years ago, but this was the great man would have maybe been shy of 70 or maybe just 70. I don't know. I don't remember if he told me how old he was at the time.
He's going to be
But
about
he's
that, isn't
still,
he?
yeah, but
Yeah.
he's still very much in his prime and full of vigor. And so here we'll get to see him at a few places in here that are associated with King Tewdrig. And I hope everybody enjoys this short video.
I'm sure we will. And Tewdrig is the king who saw the angel, supposedly, to prophesy that he'd be meet
Yes,
the end by having a head wound.
yes. I mean, according to the Llandaff charters and some of the other sources, he was actually quite a successful king while he reigned before
Yeah.
he decided to abdicate in favor of his son and spend the remainder of his life as a monk. Apparently battled the Saxons quite successfully. And I've seen references to Tewdrig and his battles with the Saxons that that indicate that he was so successful that they enjoyed a period of relative peace between the British and the Saxons. I mean, one reference, and now I don't remember where I saw this now, but one reference even mentioned a 30-year peace, which sounds remarkably like the story that's told about the Battle of Baden in, bringing a period of relative calm, a long period, decades long period of calm between the British and the Saxons. So I don't know if that's just another part of muddy history, but in any case, he was supposed to be a great warrior until he grew tired of it. That 30 years peace is remarkably reminiscent of the decades long peace that is supposedly occurred after the Battle of Baden. What exactly happened in the histories, I guess we can never be sure, but this is his story, or part of his story, as it's found in the Llandaff charters. And this is from the Holy Kingdom. And it just says here, I'm only going to read a part. King Tewdrig, when he was in his kingdom, enjoying peace and administering justice with his people, had less regard for temporal than eternal power, and accordingly gave up his kingdom to his son Moirig, and commenced leading a hermetical life among the rocks at Tintern. When he was there resident, the Saxons began to invade his land against his son Moirig, so that unless he individually would afford his assistance, his son would be altogether dispossessed by foreigners. Concerning which Tewdrig said that while he possessed the kingdom, he was never overcome, but was always victorious, so that when his face was seen in battle, the enemy immediately were turned to flight. And the angel of the Lord said to him on the preceding night, Go tomorrow to assist the people of God against the enemies of the Church of Christ, and the enemy will turn their face in flight as far as Pŵl Brachwael. And thou, being armed, stand in the battle, and seeing thy face and knowing it, they will, as usual, betake themselves to flight, and afterwards, for the space of 30 years, they will not dare, in the time of thy son, to invade the country, and the natives and other inhabitants will be in quiet peace. but thou wilt be wounded by a single stroke in the district of Tintern, and in 3 days die in peace. So, he goes, and the video that we have will tell the story. I'll let Alan tell the story from there.
Excellent. Well, let's take a look at the video then.
Tewdrig, king of Gluissing and Gwent in the late 5th century, successfully battled the invading Saxons, but tired of warfare and gave up his throne in favor of his son, Moirig. Tewdrig retired to the area we now know of as Tintern, where he lived as a monk. One day, when he was an old man, he had a dream in which an angel told him he would be mortally wounded in a battle with the Saxons, and shortly thereafter he learned that a Saxon raiding party was attempting to flee his kingdom with their loot. Tewdrig was able to delay their escape until his son arrived with more men and destroyed the Saxon raiding party.
So this is where they would have blocked them. When the river's down, you can see the stones in it.
But not before he was mortally wounded, as his dream foretold. He asked his son to take him to the Isle of Eckney in the Severn Estuary, where he wanted to be buried.
The story of this one is, the battle was fought up at Tintern, where we've just been. Saxon invasion. They were trying to get out of Wales with their loot. They got to a ford at the river. The old King Tewdrig blocked them, stopped them getting across the ford, while Moirig's coming up Morris with his army to get hold of them before they escaped. The Saxons succeeded in wounding Tewdrig, the monarch, the head, severe head, and he was obviously dying. He expressed a wish to be buried on the island of Eckney over in Cardiff Bay. But they got him this far on a cart, and he's badly wounded. They tried to clean him up again at this fountain, and he died in this area. So having died here, it's 580 is the correct date. And he died here, so they buried him here, and they built a church over him. King Tewdrig fighting the battle of Tintern, being injured, defeating the Saxons, being brought down in this direction, and finally dying at the fountain, and his son Maurice becoming king in his place, and Tewdrig being buried here, and then the church being built over his coffin. The significance is this: the altar is there, and if God sat on the altar, then this position is at the right hand of God on the north side. God is sitting on the east end looking west. So this is at the right hand of God and at the foot of God if God is sitting on the altar. Right? And this is where he wants to be, at the foot of God and at the right hand of God. He's been dug up twice, 1617 and in 1881. And again, the stone coffin with bones. And they've got a little effigy statue of the king. Statue of 3 bishops who are buried here. Right? So it's a very important church. Okay? 3 bishops. Right?
Okay, great. Yeah, so there is the great man in his late prime anyway, still full of vim and vigor and passion for his project, which we hope to advance. So Thank you so much, Paul, for taking a few minutes with me today. I will see you again soon with another visit with Alan, from some of the films that I'm recovering from my journeys over there. Yay, these many decades hence. So speak to you again soon.
Speak soon. Thank you very much, Paul. That was wonderful. Cheers.
Cheers.